About to go to live. Yeah.
And I think we are live already. Yeah, cool. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's event, the future of Web3 infrastructure. I'm very excited to welcome all of you, and nice to see you all online from globally from a lot of different locations around the globe. My name is Zoe. I'm Global Head Ambassador for Events of the Polkadot Network, as well as a council member for Phala Network. And I'm going to host as well as moderate the discussion and the panel discussion here today. Today, we want to talk about a very hot topic, the infrastructure of Web3, and mainly also about or focusing on the Metaverse. And therefore, we have invited three thought leaders from the Web3 and also Web2 space. And I'm very excited to welcome all of you. We have with us today Bianca Buzea. She's Associate Solutions Architect at Amazon Web Services. Hey, Bianca.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Welcome. Welcome from Berlin, by the way. We have to mention where we are here. We have Ray Lu. He's CEO and founder of Bit.country and the Metaverse Network. Hey Ray, welcome from New Zealand.
Thanks, Joy. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you. And we have Marvin Tong. He's co-founder of Phala Network and Phala World. And hello to Beijing, Marvin.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Thank you for coming here, and thanks for having me. Thank you.
Great. So today we are having two builders from the Polkadot ecosystem. So Ray as well as Marvin are building actively in the Polkadot ecosystem. Bianca is also very active in the blockchain space, but will also today represent perspectives from AWS. And that's why I'm very excited about both perspectives to come together here and discuss this topic today. For everyone that's online, if you haven't used Crowdcast before, feel free to introduce yourself also in the chat, where you're coming from, what brings you to this event today. As well, if you have questions to the speakers afterwards, after our panel discussion, feel free to put them into the Ask a Question box. We will mainly go through the questions after the conversation and have about 15 minutes later on to bring up your questions and have them answered by the speakers. Great. So if everyone is with us, let's dive into our conversation today. And Bianca, let's start with you, specifically to explain a little further what your daily responsibilities are at AWS. I know you also work with the blockchain services that you offer, and what you're specifically working on at the moment at AWS.
Sure, thank you, Zoe. So my name is Bianca Buzea. I'm an associate solution architect with AWS. So what a solutions architect does, I think I hear a bit of an echo. Is it only on my side? Coming back, what a solution architect does, we help customers build reliable, scalable, performant architectures with our over 200 plus services. And personally, I get very happy and excited every time there is a customer out there who wants to architect something around blockchain technology.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw that you lately also wrote a blog post about how to store off-chain data using Amazon Managed Blockchain services, as well as Amazon S3, the simple storage services. Could you explain a little further about this, just on a high level, so we can also put this into perspective?
Yeah, so basically on a high level, that blog post explores how to use our service S3 for offline storage in combination with the blockchain, such that you can achieve storage.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, if you want to check it out, I think, Bianca, you posted also on your LinkedIn, or you can maybe share it also in the chat if people want to learn more about this. I think it was very interesting to see how you can actually combine these services from AWS. Nice. Let's continue first with the introduction before we go into into further depth here. Ray, please explain further about what you are building with Bit.country as well as Metaverse.network.
Sure, Zoe. Bit.country is a D app that allow user to create their own metaverse. So you can think of you create a Zoe world for your family and friends. You got your map, 3D world, and also a common economy that you can use to entertain your community members. And also NFT is a big thing. So everything is made up by NFTs, like even the user permissions or features that are available for you. You want to enable inside the metaverse. It's all come from a crafting of an NFT. For example, you can enable a local marketplace, and you can get an NFT to enable the local marketplace. And if you want a 3D version of your local marketplace, you get a 3D version of that NFT to enable that feature. So yeah, so it's a new web. It's a Web3 and plus the new internet kind of feelings. So it's a Web2 components, Web3 plus the Metaverse 3D and token economy and governance as a foundation. So all that's built on top of Metaverse network, which is the parachain on Kusama right now, and also we are going to auction on Polkadot sometimes this year. We want to stabilize our solution and network on the Canary network on Kusama first, and then we go further. So that's in a nutshell what we do. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Ray. We dig deeper into this also going forward in this conversation. And Marvin, happy to learn more about Phala network, Phala world. You're also a live parachain on the Kusama network, Canary network of Polkadot. And from some architectures, we also know that you're using Bit.country services already. Explain us a little further what you're building with Phala world and what's the cooperation here behind Phala as well as Bit.country.
Sure, thank you, Zoe. I mean, for Phala itself, for the guys who, I will give a very brief introduce as well. So, Phala is building since 2019, and what we are aiming to is to provide a decentralized computation protocol. So, just imagine it's like a P2P Uber, just a Uber the cloud. Something like this, and there are a lot of issues need to be solved to make that happen. So for example, we use different technologies like blockchain, like trusted execution environment. All of these technology, we combine them together, and of course we are using substrate as well to build the chain. And because of winning the slot from both Kusama and Polkadot, I guess in a couple of hours, Phala will successfully win the Polkadot solution. So that our network security can be guaranteed by the relation from both Kusama and Polkadot. So that the blockchain itself can be really strong. And of course, Metaverse is I think is one of the most used cases who are using a lot of computation power. So to speak, if we break down the cloud concept from Web2 into Web3, you can see that it can be split into different pieces of protocols like data storage, data computation, and render batch rendering, and a lot of middleware services, which is why AWS is so popular and widely used in the industry. So and Phala is very, very targeting on providing the micro services related with computation. And so that's what is Phala doing. But since last year, when we decided to go further into Metaverse, our first idea is why don't we bring the Phala community into Metaverse? And by then we began to exploring different verses such as Decentralized, crypto voxel, and sandbox. And then I met with Ray here, and he introduced me about his brilliant idea, and he's the first guy I saw the true potential that in the near future that we could killing a lot of time in the world with high quality. So and their economy design is also great. So we decided to why don't we try it on a Bit.country as a Polkadot ecosystem Metaverse. And so things going very well on a Bit.country. And in the meanwhile, when the virtualized system is being developing, our team is also like gathering different ideas and interesting functions. We want to integrate it together in the Metaverse. So we figure out like besides using the verse virtualized system or editor, we also need to integrate a lot of things first. Like we need to have NFT series, and we need to have like a soulbound NFT protocol so that we can storage the players' profiles in a decentralized way. And we also need to integrate with DID. So a lot of stuff we need to use inside versus like Bit.country. So now we are working on that majorly. And I believe in the near future, after Bit.country launch the first version, a lot of community will jump in, and by then we are also very glad if we can provide the open source framework or anything like this, to help other communities jump into metaverses, in the fast way. So so this is what we are building and what is Phala.
Great. Thank you, Marvin. You put out a lot of information there already. I just want to circle back a little bit for also people that might be joining the first time here today or not are too familiar with Phala World, as well as Phala and Bit.country or the Metaverse network. They both mentioned now that they are built on Substrate. So Substrate is a blockchain framework. So the Metaverse.network as well as Phala network are both individual public blockchains on Kusama or Polkadot, and they're both built with Substrate, a blockchain framework. So just so you guys can put this into perspective. Marvin, you now mentioned already a little bit about like what you are actually doing with your Metaverse build with help of Bit.country. But I want to ask a very simple question, and really want to hear how you reply to this. And Ray, let's start with you. How do you define the Metaverse from your perspective? And maybe also a little more provocative, why does the Metaverse need a blockchain together? Why do we need to go this direction? And I know you're both working on this, but please, your impression on that. Ray, if you want to start.
Sure, it's my pleasure. Metaverse, it's more beyond a visual feast. It's not just VR and 3D. It's beyond that. It has a sense of perpetual. That's why blockchain is required. Your ledgers and important records are stored in a decentralized environment forever, and that's truly owned by you. And metaverse to me is that visual bring you to an immersive environment which is supported by perpetual records, economy and governance, and the new metaverse objects. Things that don't really exist in the real world and the games. That's our interpretation of metaverse. I can give you some example. Like we want everything to be created inside the metaverse have their own narrative. It's not just deploy a 3D building or avatar. There we go. You got something born inside the metaverse. We've created a very kind of some people call it complicated. I call it sophisticated system to creating different objects such as avatar. You can use the BIT token and create elements as if it's like in the real world compounds, and putting different elements together and creates a network authorized avatar, right? In Phala world, for example, they have a new avatar. If they authorize that, they have their own formula. so people can use those formula to create that avatar if they make the avatar creatable by end user. Because some people may let people create themselves following the rules, and some people may choose to just create them and sell them. All right. So everything inside your metaverse, even the blocks, the buildings, and objects, are all made of BIT, which is, following to our Bit.country narrative, one and zeros. That's our in-game currency. And if you go into your world, you see the 3D and the sky and everything nice and beautiful. But underlying of that is all small digital assets made up that. It's called a bit. So we have a very strong narrative, and that's why I think metaverse needs substances. It's not just dump a visual there and then walk around. It comes from the creation and choices, and also people's mostly the different ways to creating things. So I think in terms of metaverse new native experience that don't really exist in games, things like we actually had a concept, Shannon had a concept called a weather forecasting. Future metaverse news will forecast the weathers in different metaverses, such as Phala will have a shower on Thursday afternoon. As a matter of fact, it's actually airdrop events, which you go in there, you see shower, but actually people holding those NFTs can receive the shower and turn it into cryptocurrencies, right? You can have a thunderstorm event, So we're creating a lot of things. We also even trying to create like a metaverse calendar that's based on blocks, speed, and production. But I don't want to get that too far today and until that concept's finalized. But yeah, where we're heading to, right? We try to create some really interesting native metaverse narratives that don't really exist before, but only specific to Bit.country and our users. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we see already from everything you said the value of why the blockchain needs to be part of the underlying architecture here, to just have more opportunities in what you can actually bring to the user. Marvin, I would like to hear your perspective on this also, because knowing what is being built with Phala World and also the activities that you want to replace or that you want to actually have on chain. Explain us a little further more about this.
Thank you, Joy. And I think I almost I totally agree with what we just mentioned. For me, look at the past 5 years or 10 years, the most popular games with 3A quality are majorly open world. So open like GTA, or what's the name, the Red Dead Redemption. All of these game series are open world, and it provides like Elden Ring, right? So it means the players can spend 100 hours by not only finishing the quest list, inside the game, and beat the boss, but also they can exploring the world in freely. But I think there's a line between open world and metaverse is different from open world. Many people think like metaverse. Okay, metaverse is a very very big open world, but it's not something like this. From my perspective, I think there are two major points for the difference. The first one is everything in open world in these 3A games, the architecture, the NPCs, the rules, the eyesights, all of them are designed by the game studio. But in metaverse, it gives the ownership and give the possibility that for players to create his own world. Like Ray just mentioned, in Bit.country you can create a joy world and you can put everything you want in it. And so this is the first line between the open world and metaverse. But of course, someone will say like, hey, Roblox and Minecraft can also do that, so I can also create my own world in the Minecraft. So what's the difference then? I think the other point is that open source is Metaverse is totally openness. It means that with the certain rules created by blockchain, by smart contract, if everyone agree with that, following the tokenomic, then you can do everything you want. So, for example, I don't need the permission from Minecraft company to create a Minecraft type of Disney, and I don't need any permission for that. So that is a very important thing, openness. Because of the openness, so that's why everything we created in the metaverse, and even though we are not creators, we are just players. So our actions, our data, which be storage inside metaverse, will remains forever, and it can be converted into digital assets, no matter it's NFT or social digital assets on blockchains, means metrics, or like cryptos. So no matter what it is, what the players are using and building and playing inside these metaverses will remain forever because of the openness, so that there will be a bunch of other protocols written by smart contract will to use to summarize, to use the digital assets you contributed, you created in metaverse. I think that's a legacy. That's like a personal legacy in digital world that can remains to next generations. This is huge. This is why it could be the future of the next 5 years. It's different from open world in games. Just remember that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Marvin. Yeah, for also the detailed explanation on this. I think we all got the point why it's special to have blockchain actually in the architecture, also from building metaverses. Bianca, would like to hear also from your perspective. As far as you know, how actually AWS is reacting on, let's say, companies that build metaverses. Is AWS working also on a strategy, as far as you can talk about this, to also implement metaverse or have this as a service offering, as well as overall in building Web3 in a more decentralized services? You're muted. You just need to.
Sorry about that. So while AWS hasn't announced any public plans regarding the metaverse, we are fully supportive to our customers who are choosing to embrace this. We have our services tailored specifically towards Web3, such as the Amazon managed blockchain for Ethereum, or Amazon managed blockchain for Hyperledger Fabric for a permissioned network. Also, we have EC2, so Elastic Cloud Compute, and this can be basically used to run a node for any blockchain out there. Additionally, on top of that, we have the breadth and depth of services that customers can basically use to integrate and construct any architecture out there.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, that's nice to know. Is there also a more from your perspective, because as I understand, you also talk with your clients and know what requests they actually have, requests regarding metaverse or services that actually support this type of developments?
Sorry, could you repeat, please?
Yeah, my question was if you see actually a rise in requests from to change your, or to maybe expand your AWS offering to support other developments regarding to, for example, in the metaverse development.
Oh, yeah, sure. Indeed, there is a rise when it comes to Web3 solutions, and we constantly take into account the feedback from our customers when it comes to the roadmap.
Great. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. to see. I mean, we also have just seen, talking about another big company here, Facebook, or let's call it Meta, actually, the new name, right? So they have actually shown with their move or change in company name that they really want to support going this direction, and also being part of let's say this movement, yeah, Meta for Metaverse and so on. What do you think about this type of attempt from a very centralized, we call it traditional tech company, because we're here now in the Web3 space, if they will be ever, and this is a small question to Ray and Marvin actually, will they ever really be part of the Web3 movement? Because they're not a Web3 born company, if you want to put it like this, but now they changed their name to be part of it. What is your perspective on this? And also looking, of course, to their service offering, right? Marvin or Ray, whoever wants to take this first.
Okay, I'll take it first. Then so from me, I think of course there's a high possibility that the current Web2 companies, the giant like Facebook or Amazon or Google, View, they're already providing services to Web3. For example, I know a lot of blockchains are running and hosting their nodes on AWS at the moment, and I think I don't see like I think it's how to say it is the current status, and it makes sense because AWS did a great job, on providing middleware services. So it make developers much more easier to hosting services on top of them, and I mean. But because of the openness of blockchain and Web3, so it allows anybody in the future to integrate into Web3. There's no line like, hey, or moral line. Like, hey, you are a Web2 company, you are not Web3, you're not burn in the right way, something like this. And I'm a crypto native guy, so I personally I don't like the maximize theory like BTC maximize or Ethereum maximize or DOT maximize. I think because of the openness, people have truly freedom, to change from Web2 into Web3. And for now, this is the current situation, right? But I mean, in the future, I think the benefit or advantage from Web2, which is high performance, high quality, and high efficient, will also help into the Web3. Because I remember that in the last couple of days, Meta.io just announced that they will providing services into Web3 as well. So each company have a profit target, and they are that trying their best to build up things to feed in the profit, and that's how the world runs. And but if you want to earn money from Web3, you need to follow the lines, follow the guide, in Web3. So it also means that no matter the work how the work they build in the Web2 world, but if they providing services or their self is creating a new project in Web3, they will be as legit, like as trustless as the others. Otherwise, no one will use it, right? So, for example, if Coca-Cola create an NFT series, then the NFT series on Ethereum will also like the other open the other NFTs you are holding. So this is how things work, I think, in Web3. So I have no doubt that in the future, Web2 companies will merge into some part of Web3. There's no clear line to forbid anyone to do that, and and I think they will, because Web3 means the power of the people, and all of the power of the people are aliened these protocols, and this is really cool. And there's no how to say there's no centralized governor or any low governor to control that. But instead of it, the new contract between these people are aliened by smart contract, by code, by the game theory based on top of crypto assets. So yeah, I mean, this is how I think what will happen in the future for centralized solutions in the companies.
Beautiful. Thank you, Marvin. Very visionary and beautifully put everything. And exactly how you say the power of Web3 is the power of the community. That means also power of, let's say, companies, right, entities. And that's why everyone needs to join actually this movement. Very interesting from your perspective. Maybe also towards Ray, the same question, but also maybe you can explain a little bit, or from your perspective, why. I mean, Marvin said some of these points already, but why you think then the metaverse in the Web3 has actually also reached this type of traction lately? Do you think because also big giant companies have actually adjusted and also offering the services? And is it, why is it, from your opinion, we have reached this traction so far? Although we are not there where we want to be yet, but I think this year is already a good year for the whole Web3 space.
Yeah, so what I believe, the way I see Metaverse is like a sci-fi movie or a storybook. Yeah, everybody have their own interpretation or their ideas. We're a big country, our narratives is binary. Zero and ones. We use zero and ones constructing a foundation framework, civilization, visual economy. Whereas Meta.com, I think they come from the VR perspective, right? They want to bring people to virtual reality, so they do a lot of R&D with goggles and Oculus too, which is also important because that bring people like you and I to a very immersive experience, right? So I think in this time we see more and more centralized corporation start portal themselves into the Web3. You will start seeing a lot of companies like they have a management company and also they have a blockchain. So basically, the level of decentralization determines how the level of commitment they want to give back to the community, right? In a simple scenario, I say, Joy, your point system is currently holding our database versus, hey, Joy, your private key have access to your points in our blockchain, right? So more and more companies, especially centralized corporation nowadays, will start to embrace blockchain, and then will become I tell my team it's called a hybrid company, which is you got like a team and a blockchain. I think maybe a better idea because someone gonna make commitment to the protocol owned by the community, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing, and of course, if you want to do something more powerful, you got to have a dedicated team to continue to add value. Whereas I think Bitcoin is the most decentralized technology, but Bitcoin only does transfer from one to the other, right? So yeah, I think Meta.com will have their position, and actually I really appreciate their initiative because the day they made the announcement, my neighbor don't even know what Metaverse, and the week after, everybody start telling me what a Metaverse is, which are very interesting. So that's a very good, education for the general public. So your question to Marvin's point, can you repeat that question, Joy?
Yeah, in general, the question to Marvin, let me just check. It was actually why, or the follow-up question was why Web3 in general and the metaverse development have actually reached this popularity by now. So, yeah.
Yeah, at the moment, the popularity is still early stage, right? We are still building, and the more we build, the more we see the potential. It's not just sitting into the land sale, NFT sale. It's really beyond that. It's a because the economy, the visual, the governance that sometimes could confuse you what's the reality, what's not. That's the level that we want to build to. Like sometimes we sleep, we're in a dream where we don't even know, we can't figure it out, because the cool part is the economy and the governance, which is the real power and the money, right? Inside the metaverse, that makes everything so a lot of possibilities. It's beyond a computer game. Just having a little bit of fun. It's more than that. It's a career portal. It's a new social portal, and we are in this time that people speculate on the land, which is have a digital investment properties. Yes, that's important, but I do believe that land should have value when it's being developed. Okay, I think that will become more and more mainstream. Especially there are substances in your space. What the land stands for stands for a space and unit of resources, and also that's being developed with the substances that creates the value, and the value comes from the substances and decisions, choices, and plus their own kind of creatives. So yeah, that's my view.
Great. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, I mean, we should not forget, and we always say this still this year, that we are very early stage, especially because in this type of developing metaverses, these services that you're offering is actually on the infrastructure level. So think about it, if you're building the infrastructure now, the next is actually to build the applications on top of it, right? And if we are still there to build and define the infrastructure, it's definitely early stage. And we can just imagine what's coming next. But it's great to always put this into perspective where we are actually in the development phase. And a lot of people expect maybe also already too much from where we are on the technical development phase. But still not to forget to continue to build and put the word out of it. So that's word out about it. So that's why we're also talking about this today. So maybe, Marvin, you touched point on this already, saying that a lot of still services or blockchain nodes are actually hosted on centralized services. People using AWS services, centralized services to actually develop their decentralized services. What do you think, in your opinion, is necessary as a technical breakthrough to actually have here a whole replacement or better bridge between Web2 services and Web3? I don't want to take a side here to say, okay, we will replace it completely, because you just said that companies like AWS are also moving into offering these services. But what's your opinion on this from a technical development side?
Yeah, I mean, there are reasons. First, before a cloud exists, the companies, the enterprises, they host their servers in their basement, in their companies. So for their own, and the bigger ones, like the companies in Silicon Valley, they lend a lot of lands in reality to host the servers, and after that they begin want use it in a high efficient way to run the to run the to rent the servers that they have no necessary to use it 24 hours a day to the other companies. Then the cloud business begins, and I think there are good reasons why people using AWS so much, that I mentioned it before. It's not only least pay and lower cost, and also included a lot of good services. They provide a lot of middlewares that if the developer want to build for their own, then they will cost maybe a month or 2 months. But if they use AWS, they can set it up in 10 minutes. That's why people using AWS. And I mean, it's very interesting to have this topic about what uh, about the situation that a lot of Web3 services are actually hosting on centralized cloud, like not only AWS but also GCP and other cloud. So I think most of the crypto holders, or the crypto bullish guys on Twitter, what I don't know is actually I think over 90% of the proof of stake nodes are hosting on centralized cloud instead of their own servers, and it means that the L2s, the most of the the proof of stake blockchains, and I think even though Polkadot validators, many of them are hosting on a centralized cloud. I don't see the guilty part in it, because on the blockchain protocol scenario, it doesn't matter where you host the nodes. But of course, people mention decentralized, but it means that based on the game theory of the proof of staking, or based on this game theory consensus, uh, it doesn't matter where you host the nodes, so it's okay. But in reality, I mean, there's reasons why Bitcoin and Ethereum consensus is so strong. Part of the most important reason is they have over 10K, over 100K nodes, and only piece of them are hosting in centralized services. Most of them are really decentralized. You don't know where it is. So I mean, the stronger decentral, the more decentralized way you got, the stronger network you got. So this is why very important thing is nothing about morally, the Web3 moral principle, nothing related with that. It's just in reality. For example, if one day, GCP, actually there is a case here. GCP I think in 2 years ago, there's a very serious shutdown from it. And because of that, although many of the Ethereum nodes are still remaining and hosting, but Infura shutting down. Infura shutting down means MetaMask, Binance, a lot of exchanges are related, are being influenced, even though with I think Ether scam. So people, although the Ethereum nodes are still hosting, but people don't have the access, don't have the ability to use it because the middleware to link up with Ethereum and the user and are running in this centralized way. So that's the that's why people begin to work on more on Web3 infrastructure. You know, like two years ago, nobody mentioned the word of Web3 except Gavin Wood or Polkadot supporters. But nowadays, everybody mentioned Web3. Part of the reason is that it's richer, it's bigger than just a blockchain, and I think we need more Web3 service so that to avoid the situation like 2 years ago happened. And another case is I am a little bit worried about the world political situations. So it could happen like in some day some country or some aliens want to shut down some users from some certain nation as well, and by then the people in that nation will suffer from the forbidden services. So I think that one of the important goals of Web3 is to avoid that situation like never happened. So Bitcoin and Ethereum gave everybody power on that. That's my personal opinion on the on the situation. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, again, a lot of valuable content here. I mean, on the one hand side, you say, okay, at the moment, as I understood you, we have to go hand in hand, right? There are a lot of blockchains that are actually hosted their nodes on centralized services and so on. But on the other hand, we want to move towards a more decentralized web, the Web3, right? To actually overcome server outcomes and so on, and that actually also the stability of the internet can improve. So Bianca, a question to you, maybe from AWS side, when we just heard what Marvin said, we are still hand in hand, but want to move more towards decentralization. How does AWS positioning or actually continues to be part of this this movement, also being okay by saying we offer decentralized services. Now at the moment we heard you can still say decentralized services because they're used, but is there any way that you see or you would like to see that is actually also moving towards more decentralized offerings?
I mean, at least at the infrastructure level, we power Web3 in many ways, and I think this is very important. For example, if you think about Polk network, to offer decentralized marketplace for APIs, where basically anyone can run a node out there and offer their compute power. And most of those nodes are actually run on AWS. Another example, Chainlink, that allows you to run data feeds. Customers can use Chainlink Quick Start and launch their feeds on a decentralized marketplace. And there are a lot more examples like this. And I think these are showing perfectly how Web2 and Web3 can go hand in hand and support each other.
Right. Yeah, definitely agreed to this for now. But the question was also going more into like the future, the outlook. But I think we need to see, because maybe we can't answer this at this current time. Just around this topic, there's a question also from the audience I want to put in now to you, Marvin, actually, because it is a little bit related to what Phala Network actually as a cloud service is providing. Someone says here, NVIDIA, also one of the giants, right, is having a giant central server plus edge servers for computing, etc. He has asked, how will Metaverse try to compete against, maybe more, how will Web3 services actually compete against this? What's your answer to this?
Yeah. Thank you, Joy. This is a very interesting question. I mean, in general, just imagine a two endpoint. This point is extremely high performance and high efficient, and this point is extremely trustless and openness. So I think centralized cloud like AWS or GCP means in this really low cost, really fast, and really high performance, and this finger means blockchain and strong and decentralized, and but in the meanwhile you need to trade off. The reason why I put this finger so far away is because it's trade-off. You can't have them both. So Phala, what we are trying to provide is a little bit like a middleware. So if sorry, I don't have a third finger, third hand, but if so, just think my face is a Phala. So I think Phala is trying to provide decentralized and in the meanwhile high performance cloud, but there are also trade-off. There's no magic in the world. It's just a math and a physical, so you can't have it both. But in some solution, if you can, for example, we are using trusted execution environment, which is called confidential computation in cloud. So because we are using that, you can trust some program, some code can be verified running in a confidentiality environment, and because of that, we can linearly add up the computation power into as strong as centralized cloud. So what we are providing is something like this. But to be honest, this is blockchain and this is centralized cloud, and you can't have it both. So I think the hottest topic in Silicon Valley in the technical market now is Web3 infrastructure and middlewares. What they are mentioning is also in the middleware, for the trade-off. And this is why in a Web3 industry, we begin to separate into different layers. Like in the bottom is layer 0. they only provide the consensus services like Polkadot and the most fundamental infrastructure, and then it's layer one, the smart contract platform, the specular of functionable blockchains like Phala, like Filecoin, like Aave. We deal with data storage, data computation, and some smart contract platform like Moonbeam, like A-Star are dealing with smart contract executions. And there is maybe in the future there will be some layer three, but DeFi and decentralized applications, metaverses, games, what they are using in current situation like is they put the most trustless and trust need assets and business on directly on layer one and layer zero. For example, Axie Infinity, their game itself is centralized. It's the game engine, the game rules is running not by smart contract, but in a game engine in a centralized cloud. They are paying a lot of bills, and but in the meanwhile, every every item, every equipment in the games, the players need to deploy some NFT in it in the inside the game, and after they play it out, there will be more NFT, as rewards to reward it to these players. So the NFT generation and execution is on the layer one zero, sorry, layer one protocol. So this is very interesting. I think maybe in 2 years or in really fast, there will be more middlewares like Phala begin to provide services so that the front end, the games, the DeFi front end, the decentralized application rules, game engines, Metaverse, MMO game servers, more and more services can be used by some Web3 services. So that's also why we are, targeted on that. We believe this will happen. And yeah, as I mentioned, I don't think it's there's any problem that people or Web3 industry are using AWS or GCP, but I think there need a balance between centralized nodes and decentralized nodes on centralized platform and Web3 cloud, because multi-cloud is the bigger future. Even though without any Web3 protocol related, the companies already, to begin with the trends, the tech trends, like we, it's called, I think, a multi-cloud strategy. It means that you don't rely on just a single cloud, so that you can be more stable for the services. So yeah, based on that perspective, yeah, I think that's my understanding about your question.
Great. Thank you so much, Marvin. You covered a lot of points here, but I want to break it down a little simpler again, because here were two, I think, nice questions from the audience again, and we want to cover them as well. I think I have to rephrase them a little bit. But the one question is actually here from Andreea. Can we consider that the Metaverse, let's say Web3, since it has the ambition of concentrating all emerging decentralized services under its hood? I think, therefore, a definition of Web3 would help again. And Ray, I would put this question to you, because you put out the definition for the Metaverse so nicely. So in your words again, what is overall a definition of Web3? And maybe if you want to include also, here's a question about computation power, of course. It's always also a negative argument about blockchains. Let's keep it simple and say, what is your point of taking Web3 as well as computation power that's actually needed to offer a decentralized web?
Yeah, in summarize, I think is the middlewares. I think Web3 middlewares to link up with high performance from Web2 and Web3 scenario. So that's a very simple and summarized answer.
That's good. Ray, do you want to add something to this?
Yeah, in terms of computation power for for metaverse related topic, like you say 3D, or they can think that at the moment, our solutions rely on browsers computation power, which is, your own browser. There are some other Metaverse solution using web cloud GPU. That's also a good, solution, but that's a rather expensive solution than just browser, because the browser runs on your computer, right? There are other aspects, like Marvin said, that Phala offer, they can provide more commitment to decentralization to the communities. I call it the commitment is that I decentralize this part is that I want the community to decide how they run in the future, and I think computation power for hosting all the servers, whereas especially in game experience part, there's a lot of code that need to be run on the centralized server. But if you want to give the community more commitment, you could choose to run something like that on the Phala kind of supported server, which is supporting for Web3 concept. So I think I think if project want to deliver more commitment, definitely they'll consider the decentralized computation power services. So for sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. There was just coming up a question also about TEEs, trusted execution environments, in the chat. It's a very basic question about Phala in general. Maybe Marvin, you can answer this after our conversation in the chat directly, because we don't want to go this way. Now we have just some minutes left for our conversation here, and I would like to just ask you, starting with Bianca, what do you see, like how do you see the future of Web3 and Metaverse in general? Like, let's say, what do you envision? What would you like to see from AWS, from Web2 or services that actually going more hand in hand with Web3? What is your envision for the, let's say, next 2 to 5 years?
So for the metaverse specifically, I see that it will continue to grow, and I think this will be powered by the advancement of augmented reality and virtual reality. I can imagine, for example, a future where we'll have most of the advertisements in the metaverse, probably longer than in the 2 years, but also in a close future. So yeah, I think a lot of what we see right now on the internet, we will have a transition in the metaverse.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. Marvin, your take on this? Maybe also telling or getting us a bit excited about what's coming next for Phala or Phala World also.
Thank you. I will be brief in this time. So, in this year, we will launch. In recent days, we are launching the Gemini update for both Phala and Color Network, which is a very important update. It means that we have a flexible computation power adjustment system between two parachains, and no matter where the supply end want to reach their servers, they can do that, and we will automatically sending out the rewards to these security workers, providing their computation power. So so this is a very important upgrade, and I think in the next hours we will successfully launch and win the product solution. So it means that Phala will be the two parachain but one token ecosystem. So this is also very important. And in the near future, I think in next month we are about to launch Phala World. It's not only a NFT project, it's a community-driven game, and NFT is the first step we deliver to the community. So just remember to test and have a trial on it. It will be very interesting. And I think the following up steps would be we will create a community driven game in some metaverse in this year, and so that the Phala World community or Phala community can be able to launch in or on board in these metaverses and play the rules, which is also related for on-chain activities on Phala. So it's a purely for community production. So yeah, just remember remark on that and have a trial. And in this year, we will also have a very important function, which is called Fed contract. It means it's not similar with a smart contract. It's more like a middlewares, Web3 middlewares, as I mentioned, to fill the gap that smart contracts can't provide the services in. So it means the developers in Web3 industry can use more and more Web3 middlewares, such as like API Hub or computation container, something like this, and host it on a decentralized cloud and providing to your DeFi and the decentralized application or Metaverse services. So yeah, so that's all important features or functions for Phala in this year. Thank you.
A lot to come and a lot to be excited about. Definitely the crowd loan now, follow on this, guys. And yeah, also the questions here about TE that came, Fed contract. We have there's also great documentation about everything out on Phala.network, if you want to check it out on that side. Ray, let us know what's going to happen with Bit.country and Metaverse.network. Very excited.
Sure. We are working day and night trying to push out the first lot of feature to testnet, and after testnet, fine tuning, we want to launch our first edition, which with the kiosk land. Kiosk land have 26,000 stakeholders already. We'll distribute the land for them to create different things on their own land, but in a giant world. We also have 3D marketplace. We just made an announcement about our deal update. You can check out. So in there, you can, apart from traditional local marketplace, you can walk around like a gallery and buy the things right on the spot. Yeah, and also we have a 3D vault. You can visualize your wallet in a 3D world. You can see your assets and tokens laid out like a piles of the treasures inside like a treasure warehouse. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. The team, we grow team to be now like 13 members from 10 this year. And we have a 3D team, we have a development team for Metaverse, development team for blockchain. So yeah, I'm excited to have those people on our journey. We enjoy the time together and deliver the solution. And especially in this season, we based on different parts of the world, but it's good to see that our minds and our hearts are in one place. So yeah.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, and I know that Bit.country or Metaverse.network also has a very big and active ecosystem, right? You do a lot of also in education for blockchain, specifically Polkadot. So if you guys are interested, check it out also on the website. Maybe you guys can put some links into the chat so people can continue to follow your projects and also articles and content that you put out. Bianca, I know that you're also very active on that side. Yeah, we reached the hour here for our online event. I think we also have answered all the questions from the audience. If there are follow-ups, follow on Twitter, ask the questions there to the community. I know that everyone has also a Discord channel you guys can join. And I would say thank you so much for this great and insightful conversation. I think we learned today that we are still on a stage where we have to go hand in hand with centralized and decentralized services. And for now, this is actually what also provides the best performance for the development that we are in today. And yeah, let's see what's is coming in the future. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Ray and Bianca for for the sharing of your opinions. It's very important. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for having us here. See you later.
Thank you for
Bye bye.
See you, man.
Bye.
Bye.